Or is it?
Is Britney Spears being held hostage?
Is she even here anymore?
It's literally not her.
This is crazy.
Missing, locked up, even dead.
Britney Spears is alive. She posts almost every day. And yet, for 3 years, a growing slice of the internet has insisted the woman in those videos is not really her, that the real Britney died or was hidden and quietly replaced. This is not a story about whether that's true. It obviously isn't. It's a story about how it started to sound like it might be.
Britney Spears are getting wilder by the day with the hashtag Britney's Not Free, racking up over 75 million views, and the hashtag Where is Britney, more than 130 million views on TikTok.
200 million views is not a fringe, it's an audience, and an audience that size needs raw material. Britney, living her life out loud, supplies plenty.
But anyways, it's my birthday. I'm not turning 42. I'm turning 5 this year. I'm turning 5 years old, and I have to go to kindergarten.
On its own, an odd, playful post from a woman who just spent 13 years having her every move controlled. But she has also said, in her own words, that she barely recognizes what the cameras make of her.
My friend, it really kind of hurts my feelings that the paparazzi make my face look like I'm wearing like a white Jason mask. It doesn't even look like me. They've always been incredible.
She's describing bad photos, but run that same footage through a certain kind of attention and the quirks stop being quirks. They become clues.
And they dug deeper.
Look at the way when her hand moves up, he totally disforms. Like, those two people are not in the same picture. They are not in the same room.
The accusation that hubby, Sam Asghari, is using the power of the green screen to make it look like white. And then there's the body double theory, based on the fact that A, she used to be a way better dancer. Sorry, Brits. And B, the teeth. These are old Britney's teeth. And here, allegedly, are the cheap imitation Britney's teeth. I mean...
This is the hand that blurs, a dance that got worse, teeth that look wrong. Each one on its own is nothing the normal noise of a real person aging in public. Stacked together and replayed 1,000 times, they start to feel like a pattern. Then a famous face made the pattern go mainstream.
As if all that wasn't enough, this week, Paris Hilton inadvertently joined the fray, sharing this photo of her and Britney. Zoom in a little closer, and half of Britney's necklace chain is missing, and her fingers look a little bit odd. Fans suspicious that Britney had been photoshopped in to make it appear like she was at a birthday party.
Paris, are you in on this too now?
Paris later explained the situation, saying the original pic was blurry, so she used an app to fix it, which distorted.
Blurry photo cleaned up by a phone app became proof of a body double until Paris Hilton explained the app. But corrections travel slower than theories, especially when the next voice to pick it up has millions of listeners of her own.
But we talked about Hollywood conspiracies, and I said, my big thing was Kanye West, I think, is a clone, but also I said, Britney is not Britney. Okay, so Britney obviously...
That clip was clipped, captioned, and recirculated. Britney herself caught wind and pushed back. Now the theory had a celebrity, a feud, and a fresh wave of attention. What it still did not have was evidence, and Britney knew exactly what was being said about her posts.
Hello, and please don't judge me. I look haggard right now. But my question to all of you is, a lot of fans in our world today, they always are subject to really criticize people and say that the pictures and videos that they're posting are...
Here's the part that gets lost in the panic. None of this is new. The claim that Britney Spears is dead did not start on TikTok. It started years earlier with a hack.
Years ago, and now there's word of a second Sony hack. Sony Music Entertainment's Twitter account falsely announced yesterday that singer Britney Spears had died. She is, in fact, alive. The inaccurate report.
Death hoax from a hack, a clone theory a few years later, a body double panic almost every year since. Same target, different decade. The story keeps coming back because it's useful, it's engaging, it's endlessly shareable, and it never actually has to be proven. And it feeds on something real. Her life genuinely was strange.
And I remember they brought me in to meet Britney before the interview, and they brought Britney in a birthday cake, and they're like, happy birthday, Britney, surprise. And Britney goes, it's not my birthday. My birthday was last month. Wow. And I'm like, what are they doing? You know, and it was clearly for the cameras, and it was just...
For 13 years, Britney's life really was controlled, monitored, and stage managed under a conservatorship. So when something looks off, looking twice isn't crazy. The mistake is what people decided a second look proves. Some commentators even flipped the theory on its head.
With conspiracy theories is that she has a memoir coming out this year. She has an album coming out this year. What this has led to is increased scrutiny on Britney Spears. Could it be the case that Britney Spears and her team are planting little Easter eggs? They're going, let's just do something weird with the green screen. Let's put her at a picture in a birthday party and then have her say she wasn't there. And then what happens is we sit on the project.
That's a joke mostly, but it lands on the real point. Once everything a person does can be turned into content, the difference between a clue and a coincidence stops mattering. So, is any of it real?
Is this real?
What a silly question. Of course it's real. Of course there is a Britney clone on the loose. She appears to have died and been replaced. No, that is not what's happened. This is a bit of
Do they genuinely, is it real for them?
Oh, it's absolutely real for them. And this is the thing about most conspiracy theories, is that if you look close enough, weird things are occurring. Some of that, I believe, is a green screen. Like, it does look like there's a green screen. And then the birthday comment was weird. There are a few weird things going on. I just don't think their conclusions are right.
That's the whole mechanism in one sentence. The weird things are real, the conclusion is not. Underneath the clone talk is something more human, an audience that feels it owns her.
I think it actually does, because to me, this is about fandom. It's about internet community. It's about them being surrounded by something, feeling ownership over someone, which probably isn't entirely safe or good.
The most direct answer to all of it didn't come from a fact checker. It came this month from someone who would actually know.
Checking. During a July 17th live stream reposted on social media, Jaden James Federline responds to the viral conspiracy theory that claims the pop icon has been replaced by a clone, saying, I hop on TikTok and I see this one video that has 1.2 million likes, and the caption is like, the biggest theory ever, is Britney Spears still alive? Like, bro, you can go to her page. And Preston says the rumor is a perfect example of how people can get caught up in viral post without doing their homework, adding, people know how gullible people are, and they use that to...
There's no credible evidence that Britney Spears was replaced by anyone. The real story was never about her. It's about the machine that turned an impossible claim into an ordinary conversation, recycled clips, a phone app photo, a famous name, and an algorithm that rewards a good mystery over a boring truth. The theory won't die, because the thing that built it is still running, and right now it's watching her next post and yours.